quick notes before we get started. Another sellout crowd tonight, 20,738, continuing MLS's longest active streak. The second one, Sebastian Driussi now has 13 goals on the season, is tied for the MLS Golden Boot race. We will have a microphone to pass around, so just please raise your hand. I'll call on you, and we'll go from there. Jorge Uralde, you want to start us off, Jorge?
Yes, sure. Hello, hello. I think it's off. One. Oh. Hi, Josh. I think I don't remember a day when I saw you that much time sitting on the bench. What was passing on your mind during the first time, which was more time sitting?
No, I think you're just trying to watch and take in what the game's showing. I think we didn't start this game in a very good way. New York immediately put it on their terms. There were lots of fouls, needless fouls that created set pieces and then throw-ins and then corner kicks, and at no point did we now play behind the line and stretch the field, knowing that New York wants you to play in front of them, and bringing them into the game is something we talked a lot about this week, making sure that we avoided certain parts of the field, especially early on. I think as the game goes, it starts to open, but the start was poor from a lot of players, and I'll go back to how the week played out for us was a poor week of training, and a lot of that had to do with probably our situation coming off of a game. We took a few extra days to recover, and we just weren't sharp enough throughout the week. And today was a good example of having a good week, having good preparation, and today was a difficult game. We could have, as the game went on, I think we had better parts to it, but it was a difficult start, and we didn't really recover until later in the game. But sitting down during the game, I don't know. I sit down from time to time, and I stand up quite a bit, but that's just part of it.
Yeah, Josh, especially early on in that game, were they doing anything to surprise you guys? Obviously, you know what you're going to get when you play the Red Bulls, and it sounds like the preparation wasn't what you hoped it would be. What did you see in those opening 15
Well,
minutes?
I think it was exactly that. There was a lot of direct balls. They were playing for second balls, but they slow down the tempo of the game. The ball is not in play very often, which is normal. But for us, it's about speed of play, but just execution of now navigating the first line of pressure. It wasn't, of course, they're going to have a level of intensity to it, but it's still about understanding how we want to navigate the first line of pressure, which now allows us to address their midfield. And certainly in some of these games, we talk about playing around them or over them until the game slows, and we just didn't do that in a real calm way. And it brought them into the game. They got goals, and then not until later in the half until we get a goal and kind of get ourselves back into it. But we'll learn from it. We've had a lot of good games, good results at home and on the road. So, it's disappointing, I think. Obviously, Red Bull's a good team. They are what they are. They have a real specific game model and DNA. And, a lot of our guys haven't played against that. And I think that's also something that, we learn from. And that's the biggest thing. We've won a lot of games, and now we got to learn from this. And, we're going to have more challenging games ahead. We've acquired a good amount of points, and we performed pretty well, but no game is easy in this league. There's absolutely no forgiveness from opponents, whether it's hot out or if they're on the road. So we got to brush ourselves off and get back to work.
And then just real quick, look, hopefully you're feeling 100% after your battle with COVID, and obviously, Brad, is there any concern that there's a bug going around that could affect this team, beyond this week?
I think he's in health and safety protocol, so as it plays out, he should be back in with the group.
Yeah, he did tweet out that it's a positive COVID test. So
yeah,
obviously not what
yeah.
Unfortunate that he cost him the Emmys. How's he doing? Anything about how?
I don't know if it was the Emmys, but it was the ESPYs. I would have liked to seen him at the Emmys. That would have been nice. It is disappointing. We're all bummed for him. He's done so much for this team and this community. So hopefully he's back to good health quickly, and he's back on the field with us shortly.
Hey, Josh, we meet again. So were you expecting New York Red Bulls to press as high as they did for the duration of the game?
Yeah, I think this is what they are. I mean, it's really clear that, whether it's Red Bulls New York, Salzburg, Leipzig, everywhere, this is part of what their DNA is, the profile of players that they look for. So we're quite aware of it, and we can show video and talk about it. But once you get inside the lines and feel the intensity of it, and obviously having good understanding of what they're trying to do. That's what you try to frame the week with our work, and we'll look back on it. We clearly could have gotten some things better, and prepared these guys, and that's on me as a coach. So structure, personnel decisions, I'll make those corrections going forward. And like I said, I could have done a better job this week and put our players in a better position to succeed. But we grinded and we got ourselves back in the game, and unfortunate not to grab a fourth there. We had some chances, but 4 goals is a lot of goals at home. That's disappointing.
Why do you think it was so hard to break through that high press?
It's some of it's just understanding how you want to navigate the first line. It's not that it's anything. They're in a 4-2-3-1. I think there were times we went right through it quite seamlessly, quite easily. And again, it's a matter of being mindful of where they want to win balls and how they want to win balls, but it's just having a bit more variety and cleverness with how we try to go around them, over them, or as time goes on, we can go through them. But, the beginning of the game was always going to be tight and combative and fast and not really aesthetically pleasing. But, we just got to manage those moments better. I think game management is a big thing that we talked about, and I don't think we started the game real well.
Hi, Josh. Washington Corroso made his debut for
Mhm.
Austin FC today. What was your evaluation of him? Obviously, he seemed to
Well, I
make a
think
good spark there, but
I think
overall, what was your
I
evaluation?
think he gave us a good pop. I think that's what we've talked about. He has to continue to get more comfortable in our space and kind of our philosophy and our principles by which we attack with and defend with. But clearly he has an exceptional first touch, good change of speed. I didn't realize he had the bicycle in his locker. He did a good job to keep that alive. But I think it's good. It's obviously nice when he can come in and contribute. That'll build his validation within the group, and hopefully he'll see some more minutes. But it was a good introduction. I think he gave us a bit of boost. So did Musa, and I think we did a decent job trying to close out the game and really push them and try to grab a fourth. But it was a lot to overcome.
Yeah, so I was just kind of curious about, obviously this seemed like a game that was kind of tailor-made for Danny Pereira, and he did come in the second half, but just kind of curious about the decision not to start him and just kind of what you thought he did.
Yeah, the middle of the field's congested. It's tight, and there's not a lot of dribbling in those situations. So part of it was that. You're not going to get to dribble. They're not going to give you the space or the freedom. And, he came in. I thought he did a good job, but you could also see it was still challenging for him to do the things that he usually does well. So that was part of the idea behind that. And Felipe's a guy that's had experience and knows what this looks like. So him and Alex in the middle for combativeness, ball winning. I think that's an area that Danny's going to need to continue to improve in. But I think we cost ourselves just too needless with some careless giveaways and just not, again, navigating the first line of pressure in a real for us in a real systematic way.
Yeah, and in terms of the heat, was that a factor in just
No.
the team not being as crisp as
No.
they could have been?
Nope.
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it, but it felt from the beginning of the game, it felt like a Red Bull game, not an Austin game.
Yeah,
and
I think that's right.
just playing at home, I think you guys have had a few slow starts here. Like, what do you do differently to kind of put your imprint on the game, play the game that you want to play, rather than letting the other team dictate?
Yeah, I think it's the reality of our league. Teams know who we are. They know coming here it's going to be a challenge, but Red Bull is Red Bull. They're not changing, and we knew that they were going to come in and have an impulse like from the beginning, and we got to match that from a combative standpoint, but also just the management piece, playing in their end. I don't think we played in their end until 6-7 minutes, so they got we silly fouls right away, put them right in our half. Those led to corner kicks, those led to other free kicks, those led to throw-ins. So that's kind of how they build in, and then the game is very slow, and there's very little ball on the field and and action on the field. So and we're down a goal. It's not the end of the world. We've been there, but still, the purposefulness and the intentions when we have the ball. That for me was the disappointing part. Our speed of play, our connections with our center backs and our sixes, positioning of the fullbacks, and just a little bit of everything. So when the fluidity's not quite there, and we're not doing a good job navigating the first line, it poses some problems. We changed the structure a little bit back to our normal structure there after we gave up a goal or two, and I think they're more comfortable in that, but. There's opportunity to play, but I think you got to match the intensity and understand what the game's going to look like early, and that's what we talked a lot about this week. We didn't do a good job, coming out and carrying that out, and that's my responsibility.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since you guys had a performance like this. You've been kind of rolling on all cylinders, and I mean, I guess from your experience, how does a good team bounce back from? It's 34-game season. You're going to have these. How do you bounce back and have a good week of training?
It's a good reminder. It's a good reminder that it doesn't. What you've done in the past is obviously something that you want to reflect on. But each game has its own importance, its own weight, and the opponent plays the way that they play. But you got to have full focus and certainly real good clarity and connections of how you expect to go about the game and how you want to execute your game plan. So we didn't do that from the outset tonight, and that cost us. So we got to grow from it and learn from it. And we got 13 more games, 12 more games. What do we got here? 12 more games, and Kansas City's our next one. It's going to be a challenging one. It always is going there, regardless of record and health. But we'll have to review this game and build off of it.
Josh, of course, missing Brad Stuver is going to be a big hit. Can you quantify the impact that missing a piece like that had on the squad, and what are your thoughts on Andrew Tarbell's performance in his place?
Yeah, it's tough to come in. For Andrew, he hasn't played a ton of games this year, but he's a good goalkeeper. I think he'll own what happened tonight and making a mistake, and he doesn't hide from that stuff. He's a great leader and he's a responsible guy. So it's challenging, and then to brush that off and kind of carry on the game is difficult. But that's what experience does. But we'll review it and we'll talk with him. I'm sure he's not totally pleased. We gave up 4 goals as a team, so regardless of what his actions were on one play, it's still a group here, and the fact that we gave up 4 is on all of us. I can look at a number of those goals, and there were plenty of guys that made mistakes along the way, and that's the one thing this group is about. There's accountability, and they understand when it's good, it's about the group, and when there's mistakes, there's certainly a group element to it as well.
And this is the 3rd straight game that you guys have surrendered the first goal.
Yeah.
What needs work to kind of fire off on all cylinders right at the beginning and control the match from the first whistle?
Yeah, I think it's being purposeful and having clear intentions of what you want to do to the opponent. And if you're at home, there's a certain element of what you expect it to look like. On the road, there's certainly a variation to what the approach is going to be. But at home, we've got to be understanding of what the opponent is. This is a different opponent. Most teams will come and sit back a little bit. We knew they wouldn't. That's not their DNA. That's not who they are. So they were right away in your face and making it difficult. So you got to be prepared for that and execute better. We just needed to execute better in a lot of areas, and unfortunately it didn't happen.
Josh, tough loss tonight, but obviously bright spot, Seb Driussi.
Yeah.
That first goal, he threaded the traffic from several yards out.
Yeah.
Talk for a second about just how special it is to have somebody like Driussi on the club, what kind of leadership he lends to the squad. Just reflect on Seb's performance tonight.
His performance is exactly who he is. It's tough moments, and when games are tough or you're in big games and it's challenging, those players seem to always find a way to be impactful. And it was difficult, and he gave us a little bit of life there at the end of the first half. He's had a number of chances on kind of second balls on set pieces where he's been quite close. So he hits the ball extremely well. Technically, he's as gifted as they come, and that was an important goal that got us back. Obviously, the second half we give one up, but his second goal was pure quality. The power that he hits it with, the ability to elude guys in midfield, and I don't know if he's 25, 30 yards out, but his talent is quite clear. To me, he's the best player in the league, and we've got to find ways to keep getting him incorporated in the game quicker, and that's part of the surroundings, our intentions and purposefulness of how we need to start games and play to make sure that we do get him on the ball more often. But he's a tremendous talent, and we've got to continue to look to help and bring in more talent. But he's an incredible soccer player, and as I've always said, he's an even better human being.